CoffeeZilla making a series or not. The game is being made. He just assumed we gave up on it, which is not true.
I'm angry today. Hi, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, and today I need to yell about Logan Paul again. Today I'm upset for a few reasons. For one thing, my car is in the shop because of a recall that wasn't done properly. Secondly, low-rise jeans are coming back in style to the dismay of many and the advantage of no one. And thirdly, it's been almost 3 months since Logan Paul responded to CoffeeZilla's CryptoZoo series, and he still has not launched CryptoZoo. That, among many other unfulfilled promises, is what brings me here to you today. The last time I made a video about Logan Paul, episode 1 of this 2-part series, because this is the last time I'm going to talk about Logan Paul on this channel. He has taken up way too much of my brain space for my liking. We talked about Logan Paul's recent business history and his transition from being a businessman into being a crypto man. In my personal opinion, the main bridge between those two was his connection with a character named Jake, the crypto king / collectibles guru, who, don't worry, is going to be a main character of this episode as well. But today, now that we have fully stepped into Logan's history as a crypto man, we have so much more sketchy, shady, strange bullshit to dive into than we did last time. Last time I really tried to give Logan the benefit of the doubt where I could. This time, there's just a lot less space to do that. Today, our goal is to go over Logan Paul's recent history as a crypto business guy. I wouldn't really call him a businessman because most of his crypto businesses weren't good. And we're going to ask ourselves the all-important question when it comes to problematic influencers. When will we say enough is enough? Because I feel like Logan Paul has crossed that line, personally, but he still has millions of followers despite, like I said, not yet launching CryptoZoo. Where is it, Logs? It's been, 10, 11 weeks? You said that in order to repay people for their loss, instead of giving them all of the money that they really should have gotten in return, allegedly, you said, oh, I'm going to launch CryptoZoo. Where is it? Where is it? I'm done. I'm fucking, okay. We gotta get into this video because I don't even want to be filming it. I'm just so over this. Okay, before we get into it, I'll remind everybody that everything I say in this video is allegations, speculations, hypothesis. Take it all with a grain of salt. And I'll also say, before I get any comments about how this is an old story, cold tea, whatever, first of all, I love iced tea. But secondly, the lack of a CryptoZoo game is why this is still an ongoing story, and that's why this is not cold. This is a hot story. This is still going on. Logan has not yet fulfilled his ultimate promise. So, Logs, where's the game? Until you publish the game or repay people all of the money that they lost, this is going to be ongoing for you. This case is not closed. This tea is not cold. So we're going to dive into it. So everybody buckle up, and if you like pissed off me, subscribe to my channel, set your notifications to all. I've been streaming some mornings, early in the morning. I understand if you guys can't be there in person, it's fine. I really appreciate those who can, but you could always watch it on the replay, you know? That's where I've been covering more like ongoing current topics. So join me or catch me on the replay. They're fun. Like this video, I'm gonna have my resources linked in the description, and let's get into it because we have so much to talk about and I'm so excited. Let's start today's video by looking at Logan's Pokemon-style NFT collab with Bondly from February of 2021. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, last episode was all about bridges. Logan Paul's bridge from being a businessman into being a crypto business guy. In that case, the bridge was Pokemon, which is also the avenue through which he met Jake the crypto king / collectibles guru. And it turns out Logan Paul's love of Pokemon cards, or at least making money off of selling Pokemon cards, was the perfect bridge into his very first crypto project, which was a collection of NFTs that he released with Bondly. According to this article from February 5th, 2021 by Jack Martin on Cointelegraph.com, YouTube boxer Logan Paul turns himself into an NFT Pokemon card. Winning bidders on Logan Paul's auction of first edition Pokemon card packs will also receive a limited edition NFT featuring the man himself. And surely you must be wondering what that could possibly look like. It's that. He's described as a rare human, legendary human, length and weight, tall and thick, and his attack is dynamic punch, and looks like a defense or a healing move is a parabolic charge. So that's so great for Logan Paul. This is exactly what he needed. So let's just quickly go over this article and what it tells us about this whole NFT thing. Controversial YouTube celebrity. He was already controversial in early 2021. Just to put that out there. This is not new. Controversial YouTube celebrity Logan Paul has jumped on the non-fungible token or NFT bandwagon as part of his latest self-promotion. All he does. Anyway. Decentralized e-commerce platform Bondly announced February 4th that it will create a limited edition of 44 NFTs featuring a holographic image of Paul in his boxing gear mocked up as a Pokemon card. Which I'm very curious about the copyright infringement potentialities here, but I'm no lawyer. The NFTs will be distributed to auction winners in Paul's upcoming Pokemon box break. The YouTuber recently acquired 6 unopened boxes of first edition Pokemon cards from over 20 years ago, dropping a cool $2 million on the cards in the process. Yes, let's talk about how rich Logan Paul is and how much money he spends on useless shit. Right before we talk about how he can't pay back all of his investors. He lost out on CryptoZoo too, so he can't pay people back what they were owed. I'm trying not to do too much today. I really am. It just makes me upset. Each box contains 36 packs of cards, and Paul is auctioned. This is a poorly written sentence. This is why I'm tripping up on it. Each box contains 36 packs of cards, and Paul is auctioning the packs from one of the boxes between February 4th and 11th. Paul will unbox and open the packs on behalf of the auction winners in a live stream on Pokemon Day, February 27th, because I'm sure the auction winners wouldn't like to open their own cards. What? Okay. Also, that really depreciates the value of these first edition packs for you to open them. I would think that if I was going to pay that much money for a first edition pack of Pokemon cards, I would want to keep it sealed in that condition. Maybe that's just me. I wouldn't want people touching the cards. That's the whole point, is that they're unopened and they're valuable for being unopened. Whatever. Ruin the value of these things for other people, but not for yourself. Gotcha. As a special bonus, each pack winner will also receive one of the limited edition NFTs featuring Paul as a Pokemon. The minimum bid price on each pack of cards is $10,000. Perhaps appreciating that $10,000 represents a somewhat high level of entry, Bondly will also be issuing a whole line of Logan Paul NFTs for those who are unable to make a bid in the auction. Classist shit. I hate it. These will be sold individually through a custom Logan Paul store on the platform on Bondly. So that's the big hubbub at the time. There were first edition packs available for auction. The people who won the auction were going to have their cards opened by Logan Paul on a live stream, even though personally I wouldn't like that myself if I had won the auction, but whatever. Each of the auction winners was also going to get a very special NFT. Everybody else could buy these less special edition Logan Paul NFTs. February 27th was going to be a big special day when everybody celebrated Pokemon, but really celebrated Logan Paul and just spent a bunch of money on a cartoon image of him. I don't know why. Now, if you're wondering about those less special edition NFTs of Logan that you didn't have to win the auction in order to have, that were available for people who couldn't spend a starting price of $10,000 on first edition Pokemon card packs that they weren't even going to be able to open for themselves, Logan Paul was going to open them. We can take a look at those through this article here on tubefilter.com from February 22nd of 2021, just a few days before Box Break Day on the 27th. So as of writing that article, Logan Paul sells $5 million worth of NFTs ahead of his Pokemon box break as of the 22nd. So even before the box break, Logan Paul had already made back all of the money that he spent on that $2 million investment on these boxes of first edition Pokemon cards. He's already made that back with these ugly fucking... Why do you want a picture of Logan Paul? It's available. An actual photo of him is available for free on YouTube and Instagram and everywhere. Why do you... Whatever, I'm not in the crypto game, I guess. I really don't have any sympathy for this guy talking about how he lost money with the CryptoZoo thing when he can so easily, over the span of like 3 weeks, just snap his fingers and whip up a $3 million profit before you even add in however much each of these card packs were auctioned off for, and the ad revenue he was going to get from the live stream where he talked about all of this stuff. Just like all of this stuff that he did just in 1 month is getting him probably around $10 million. I'm getting ahead of myself here because I'm getting into like the end result for the CryptoZoo victims and how he's putting up a bitch fit about doing the bare minimum. It's very easy for Logan Paul to make money. For some reason, people like him and spend money on his likeness. So whatever he gave to the CryptoZoo victims, I'm certain he's made that back and more over the past 3 months of just existing on the internet and his fighting career on top of that. So I'm just saying, keep this in mind for later on when he goes on to complain about losing money. Keep this in mind. Anyway, now there's more to that article, but not a ton more. I was just interested in that $5 million profit headline 5 days before the box break even happened. I do want to show you an article from Medium that shows the actual cards. Not cards, NFTs that look like cards. So here he is. Look at his little squished little head. Why does his head look so squished? It looks compressed. So this is from February 26th, 2021 about Logan Paul's box break event live on Saturday, the following day, the 27th. So as it says here, on Saturday, February 27th at 6 p.m. PST, Logan Paul's box break live event will be streamed on YouTube. Fans and followers will be able to purchase digital versions of Logan Paul's unique digital card in matte black, gold, and silver editions. There will only be a limited number of NFTs minted at each tiered level. This will be a great opportunity to purchase the card and have memorabilia from one of the most historic Pokemon box break events ever recorded. Can these people's noses be any browner is really my question. Moving along, what are the NFTs? Wow, it's a Logan Paul. It's the same card that we already saw in black. Wow, it's a shiny, glittery gold one. I don't truly. Wow, it's a silver one. Boy, look at him shine. Look at our boy. Memorialized forever in digital art. The narcissism, I can't. There's also polka pets, which I don't really know anything about, but that's some other thing going on. They're going to be transmitted to people via airdrop. Now, while all of this was going on and Logan had established all of these streams of income and was making out of thin air all of this hubbub and money, the company that he was partnering with, named Bondly, may have been working behind the scenes to make it harder for people to enter the contest that he was having. Logan Paul may have been working with them on this change. I'm not really sure. I'm just very interested in this video that I found. So a creator named TapLab posted this video. Logan Paul and Bondly changed terms and conditions, NFT Pokemon First Edition pack. This video was published on February 21st, 2021. So during this lead up to Pokemon Box Break Day. And I just think it's a very interesting video. Let's take a look. This is the part that matters.
But anyway, something that I noticed when looking at this is that they've changed the terms and conditions. Like I said in my previous video, again, definitely check this out. There was no purchase necessary and there was multiple ways that you can enter the contest.
See, so this is where I'm losing it. So whatever was happening during this February 2021 with these NFTs and this Pokemon, whatever, it was complicated because I can't look back and gather all of the different pieces of information and put it together concisely for you. What this guy is talking about in this video is a Pokemon First Edition pack giveaway sweepstakes that apparently also took place during this time. So apparently at least one of the packs was going to be given away. And in the US, if something is called a sweepstakes, there has to be a way to enter for free. And so what this creator is pointing out is that the terms and conditions were changed so that that may not actually be possible anymore.
One of those ways right here, 4.2, was through mail-in entry. So a free entry, or essentially free. You can put your information on a piece of paper, put that in an envelope, send it to Bondly, and then you would be entered into the drawing to win one of these first edition packs, just like anybody that purchases the NFT. And this was all in the terms and conditions on the Bondly site. You can go check out my video for proof. Now, if we come to the site, click on terms, it's completely changed. It's completely different now. And I don't see the free entry giveaway mentioned anywhere. You can see number 2, number 3, number 4. It doesn't have any of the stuff that it had before. So that's pretty sketchy in my opinion. I'm not sure why they changed it.
So based on those side-by-side comparisons of the terms and conditions, they had changed during the term of the contest, giveaway, sweepstakes, whatever. It is not okay to change the rules of a contest in the middle of that contest. That's sucky and a little bit scummy, to say the least, if not a legal problem, I would think. I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. And so like I said before, this could have been a move by Bondly, not Logan. I highly doubt that Logan was like up at 3 a.m. poring over the terms and conditions of this contest and seeking out ways to charge people to enter the contest. So it's not necessarily Logan's fault that this happened, per se. But it does make me wonder if anyone said anything to Logan directly about this change. And if Logan was not involved in this change and he heard about it, it should have been a lesson about partnering with people. That even if you don't intend to screw over your audience, your business partners can. And under those hypothetical circumstances, it would be incredibly interesting that Logan Paul would continue to partner up with these people that just screw over his fan base without his knowledge or input somehow. Or perhaps these ideas are his, but he finds ways to pin it on his business partners? I really don't know. I'm just speculating. Anyway, this YouTuber TapLab, whose video I just referenced, he has several videos from this time documenting his journey with the giveaway and whatever the heck was happening in February of 2021 with these Pokemon NFT, Logan Paul, whatevers. I recommend that you give his videos a look. So the moral of this part of the story is Logan Paul's first venture into the world of crypto business was not a clean one. First of all, there were like 7 different layers of contests and different types of NFTs and different things going on, all of which made him money, so good end result business for him, but some of which changed the rules halfway through and ended up screwing over his fan base. Now remember, before Logan Paul did this Pokemon card inspired NFT collab with Bondly, he had laid the groundwork and the foundation for that by making a big splash in the Pokemon card collecting community. In my last episode, I went over his foray into Pokemon cards, which led to him meeting Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru. I also mentioned a live stream that Jake was part of with Dumb Money, which Jarvis Johnson commentated on. In that commentary, Jarvis shared a lot of the ideas and hypotheses and speculation from the Pokemon community, especially the community that was into Pokemon cards. So I need to circle back to that for just a second. Jarvis shares his opinion that this sounds like a pump and dump scheme.
Your actual work illuminating that market brought more value to everyone in the market, including yourself.
Like what he's describing is also like a pump and dump scheme where you like drum up the prices and get a bunch of interest in something So if the market goes up and then you get out of the market, and then the market eventually crashes.
Just put a pin in that little tidbit. We'll be back for it later. That's now. We're back for it now. I think this concept that Logan Paul may have purposefully created a pump and dump environment is related to this Pokemon style NFT collab as well as the Pokemon card thing. I think it is also related to a moment about a year and a half later in July of 2022 when Logan sold an exceedingly rare Pokemon card as an NFT. I don't know how he has the copyright to this stuff, but whatever. And as we evaluate this rare Pokemon card NFT thing, the most important part, in my opinion, is the fact that Logan has this NFT listed for $5 million US. Like, if we're looking for evidence of pumping the market, all this to say, if Logan and co. were indeed trying to pump the Pokemon nostalgia market so they could profit exponentially from it, it worked, and it's still working for them. Because like I said in the last video, he owns millions and millions of dollars of value in Pokemon cards at this point. Value that he, like Dumb Money said, essentially was the one that brought that value into that market. Like, anytime that he talks about Pokemon cards or anything Pokemon related at this point on any of his social media, he should be doing it with an FTC disclaimer because it raises the value of his own NFTs and Pokemon cards that much. It raises alarms for me. I don't like it. And ultimately, it becomes clear to me that Logan is clear on how influential he is over his fan base and their money. And we'll get back to that concept later as well. Now, just as Pokemon card selling seemed like Logan Paul's bridge from mixing business with pleasure to purely business, I believe that this Pokemon NFT project and his new friendship with Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru was another bridge for Logan from purely business into the world of crypto business. And this is a pattern for Logan that we'll see throughout the years that we're covering. Each of his ideas becomes a bridge into the next. And after building his fans' trust with the first few business ventures that were legitimate, not scams, Maverick Clothing, the Maverick Club, and his Pokemon card adventures, all really not technically being scams, no one in his fan base ever raised an eyebrow when he embarked on a new business venture. The Logang was game to follow him, all in. But this is where the bridges that Logan was building started leading him down darker paths. Along this line of thought, now we get to talk about Dink Doink, a highly publicized alleged pump and dump scheme that Logan Paul allegedly participated in from the very beginning. I'm honestly surprised at how little Dink Doink came up during the coverage of the whole COFFEEZILLA and CryptoZoo scandal, especially considering that this was the Logan Paul scandal that took place directly beforehand. Speaking of COFFEEZILLA, thankfully he covered the Dink Doink story back when it happened, so I'm gonna let him talk to you about it because he can cover everything a lot faster than I can.
The Logang, guys, you forget about this guy. He's been making big waves, making fights, making bank, but not enough bank because he's recently endorsed a crypto coin called Dink Doink.
I'm doing the same thing as you, holding my doink.
Now, Dink Doink is one of many tokens with zero actual usefulness. Instead, like every other Ponzi token, it's built off nothing but marketing hype, a few celebrity shoutouts, and the eventual sell-off that's going to happen.
So the alleged pump and dump nature of this project was so transparent that COFFEEZILLA very easily predicted the dump part, the sell-off, well before it happened. But Logan didn't seem to care about how clear his alleged scheme was. It seemed that his whole plan was that if he played the whole thing off as a joke and a meme, people just wouldn't notice if they lost a ton of money on it. Under this theory, Logan Paul feels perfectly comfortable talking about this shitcoin in his own words, aka promoting it to his impressionable audience.
Okay, so he promotes it. He says there's going to be, that's a big thing. There's going to be cartoons involved, but it looks like they're trying to rip off the South Park style. And in general, he presents himself as an interested but unaffiliated investor in this coin, saying this is the dumbest, most ridiculous coin I've ever seen, and that's why I'm all in.
But it seems that Logan didn't predict the next point in the timeline, where someone with their own motives would unintentionally reveal Logan's potential ulterior motives. Isn't it fun?
Turns out this is incredibly misleading because Logan Paul is far from just a guy who found out about this coin like anyone else. Because in a podcast with the Dink Doink CEO, he said that Logan Paul created the thing.
We might as well, be honest about how this came about. I was chilling with Logan, and we were like, what's the stupidest name we could think of for like a coin, right? What's the weirdest name we could think of for like a little mascot that's like a dumb sprite? We're like, Dink Doink. Oh my God, his name's Dink Doink. And it just came alive. Like Logan designed the character on his phone, on Snapchat.
So you design it and then you go, wow, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's your thing.
Indeed, it is his thing. Now, Logan had some promotional help from the rest of the Impulsive gang, either from Mike playing along with the joke of the ironic, oh, this is a shit coin kind of thing, or this other guy whose name I honestly don't know, guilting the fans into buying into this shit coin. And the only reason that I mentioned them and their involvement is because of this part.
At the end of the day, this is just an investment that is clearly going to enrich a few people at the cost of everyone else. And the last thing I want to show you to prove that is the fact that 80% of these coins are currently owned by the top 100 wallets, okay? The top 100 holders, of whom you can be certain Logan Paul and the gang, or some of them, own 80% of this thing. And you're telling me that this is going to revolutionize and change the world? No, I don't think so.
What coffeezilla is saying here is that the way you can tell that this is going to be a potential pump and dump scheme is because of who owns how much of the coin. When cryptocurrencies are created, there is a finite amount of the coin that people can buy. Otherwise, it has no value. If there were infinite Dink Doinks running around out there, then none of them would be valuable. So just hypothesizing here, if most of Dink Doink was held by, say, 4 to 5 people, and all of those 4 to 5 people knew each other and also happened to be, let's say, influential over an audience of millions of people, let's just say, and they all agreed together to convince that audience to buy into this coin and make the value of it skyrocket. And then if those 4 to 5 people also all agreed together to sell their coin all at the same time while the value was high, that sure would impact the overall value of the coin, wouldn't it? That sure would send it spiraling downward, huh? But it wouldn't really impact those 4 to 5 people who agreed to sell out while the value was high, would it? It would only really negatively impact those other people who bought the coin, who only became aware of the coin because of those 4 to 5 influential people who were talking about it and who told them to invest in it. Huh. Interesting speculation, isn't it? Here's the thing. This whole Dink Doink thing was not gonna fly. Like, legally, the FTC has rules about this shit. If you've been around the beauty community, for example, for long enough, you know all too well about the FTC disclosures with sponsored posts, hashtag ad, all of that shit. And when the inevitable alleged pump and dump sellout did eventually happen, the upset grew so big and so clearly bad that the New York Times even did an article about it. It's called How Influencers Hype Crypto Without Disclosing Their Financial Ties. Logan Paul, Paul Pierce, and other celebrities have promoted risky and obscure digital currencies, sometimes failing to mention their conflicts of interest. And I love the subtitle, the caption for this photo here. It says, Logan Paul, a 27-year-old boxer and social media influencer, became interested in crypto last year after business associates introduced him to the world of NFTs. I wonder which business associate that may have been. So in this article published on May 27th, 2022, it says, Logan Paul had a message for his 6 million Twitter followers. He was all in on a new cryptocurrency called Dink Doink. According to the project's creator, Dink Doink investors would receive shares of a cartoon character, entitling them to a portion of the proceeds if the googly-eyed figure ever appeared in a TV show or a movie. Last June, Mr. Paul, a 27-year-old boxer and social media influencer, praised Dink Doink on Twitter in a public Telegram chat before endorsing it again on his podcast, Impulsive. But by mid-July, the price of Dink Doink had plummeted to a fraction of a cent, and Mr. Paul was facing online backlash. In his endorsements, he had failed to mention some relevant information. He and the project's creator were friends, and they had come up with the idea for the cryptocurrency together. He had also received a large allocation of Dink Doink coins when it launched. Now we have this delightful quote. "I don't know what went absurdly wrong," Mr. Paul said in an interview. "That's the project from hell, and I just wiped my hands of that." How convenient for you, Logan Paul. Lucky you that you just get to wipe your hands of it because you didn't lose a life-changing amount of money because you trusted an influencer that you looked up to. In some cases, promoters like Mr. Paul have admitted that they failed to disclose personal or financial ties to projects advertised on their feeds, a potential violation of federal marketing regulations. Those regulations exist for a goddamn reason, Logan. Maybe that's what went wrong. You have this shameless profiteering from celebrities and others who aren't at all disinterested or impartial, said John Reed Stark, a former chief of the Internet Enforcement Branch at the Securities and Exchange Commission, otherwise known as the SEC, who will come up again later when we talk about CryptoZoo. And he goes on to say, "There is a lot of potential for harm." I agree with you, Mr. John Reed Stark. So since you admitted to having these secret internal ties with this project, Logan, first of all, don't play dumb. You may have been new to crypto at the time in a way, but you're not an outright idiot. The concept of a conflict of interest is really easy to understand, especially for someone that the co-founder says was on the inside of this project all along. Quit the act. Secondly, and I don't know why I have to tell you this, but don't scam your fans, allegedly. Especially not in such an outright obvious way. It feels like you're gaslighting your audience and trying to tell them that they don't see what is right in front of their eyes. It's shameful. It should be beneath you at this point in your career. It's misusing people's trust, and it's purposefully taking their money. It's ruining people's lives, and it's gotta stop. Allegedly. So that all happened in summer of 2021 in a time period that, interestingly enough, overlapped with the development period for CryptoZoo. So I think it's about time that we dig into that whole mess. What do you say? As everybody watching this video probably already knows, just before Christmas of 2022, a creator named COFFEEZILLA came out with a 3-part series on Logan Paul's CryptoZoo, the crypto game, NFT adventure that was never completed, even to this day, as of filming on Sunday, March 26th, 2023, and as of final edits on Sunday, April 2nd, 2023. Where is CryptoZoo, Logan? We are waiting. COFFEEZILLA's series is extremely well done, and I think that you should watch it if you haven't already. You probably have if you're watching my video. COFFEEZILLA regularly exposes scams on his channel, but for this one, he really deep dove. He became an investigative journalist and aimed to discover what was going on with CryptoZoo since it had never been fully launched as promised. He researched the team members involved in making this project. He unveiled a couple of key players with shady histories, including our old pal, Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru, of course. And most importantly, he displayed interviews that he had with investors, regular people like you and me, who had bought into CryptoZoo because they were fans of Logan Paul, and now had pretty much lost all of their money because the game never came out and the currency that they were holding on to was unusable. COFFEEZILLA also did a bunch of legwork for these investigators, finding and providing evidence that supported and validated their claims. So in honor of that work, I'm not going to be going over every detail of his video play by play because I think that you should watch it. He deserves making the AdSense from your view on his video. And honestly, as a creator, he's incredibly concise. All 3 of his episodes only come out to about an hour and 10 minutes, which I could never. What I have to do in this video is give a broad brushstroke outline of COFFEEZILLA's series for context so that we can continue talking about CryptoZoo and the whole mess that happened. But there is so much more detail and evidence in Coffee's videos than I can provide here. So I really, truly, highly recommend that you go watch. They're good videos and you're gonna get a complete picture of exactly what happened here. With all of that being said, let's get into COFFEEZILLA's series on CryptoZoo, which exposed what happened allegedly to these investors and life-changing amounts of their money. Naturally, we're going to start with episode 1, which is called Investigating Logan Paul's Biggest Scam. What's important to take away from this episode are the following points. First of all, Logan Paul and co. marketed CryptoZoo in this very interesting way where they refused to call it a project or an investment opportunity, but they were willing to call it a fun game that makes you money. And to me, something that makes you money sounds like an investment opportunity. Right, like maybe that's just me.
I'm excited to launch my game.
You keep using and you just did it again. You keep using a word there. Game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
Now I'm going to show you CoffeeZilla's explanation of how CryptoZoo was going to work because he's definitely better at talking about it than I am.
How's it possible to earn money from a game? Well, let me try to break it down for you. This is how it was supposed to work. You started by buying this crypto token called Zoo, which is their in-game currency, and you use Zoo coins to then buy egg NFTs, which you can then hatch to become animals. You then can breed those two animals to become hybrid animals. For example, if you breed a gorilla and a kitten, you get a gore kitty. And the more rare the NFT, the higher the daily yield of Zoo tokens that animal earns you every day. Theoretically, it works almost like passive income. You can then burn your animal NFTs to release the Zoo they earned back to you, and from there you can invest it into eggs or just cash out.
So that was the idea, and it sounded like exactly what Logan said, a fun game that makes you money. Sounds like it could have been fun, also sounds like it could have made people money. After CryptoZoo was announced, there came an initial investment period for public investors to buy egg NFTs before the actual game launched. At this point, people who bought the egg NFTs had no game in which to use them. In my mind, it's like this. Instead of someone buying a board game like Monopoly, bringing it home, opening it up, and playing it, these investors would have paid the full price for a Monopoly game, but they only received the instructions, the game pieces, and a promise letter saying the game board was still in development, but as soon as it was completed, it would be mailed to them. Eventually. As soon as they were done developing it.
This all sounds very enticing. Handmade art, a fun game that can earn you money, and one of the biggest influencers in the world backing it. You might think, how can I lose? Which is why when people were told all you had to do to play was buy an egg, people spent millions. Just on the first launch between ETH and Zoo, people bought $2.5 million worth of eggs in the first day. And did I mention the game hadn't even been launched yet? All people were buying was the marketing and the promises.
So listen, these investors knew that they weren't buying a finished product. But it would also be disingenuous for us to sit here and pretend they didn't also purchase that metaphorical promise letter, committing that the game would be finished and they would be able to play it soon. Because after all, why would these investors choose to pay full price for a half-finished game sealed with a promise? Because they trusted the promiser, in this case, Logan Paul. Now, November 3rd, 2021 was marketed as Hatch Day, the day when investors could hatch the eggs they had bought to see what animals they got and start really playing CryptoZoo, breeding the animals and getting their crossbreeds and seeing their rarity, whatever sci-fi this was supposed to be emulating. However, when Hatch Day came around, let's just say there were some major malfunctions. According to the investors, there was no way for them to claim their yield or claim whatever profit they had made from the value of their eggs and the animals and the crossbreeds they created. And that's important because remember, this isn't just a fun game. It's a fun game that makes you money.
There was no way to claim your yield. There never was.
Hold on. The core mechanic of CryptoZoo, that you can make money with these stupid animals, didn't even work on launch day, and still, to this day, a year later, still does not work, is what the investors are saying.
And on top of that, if you bought your egg NFTs with the popular cryptocurrency Ethereum, you were even further behind because you couldn't even hatch your egg to see what animals you got.
Wait, you can't even hatch?
No, I'm telling you, it's just a picture. There's nothing I can do with it. You can ask any of those community guys. It's basically worth nothing whatsoever.
After Hatch Day and all of these malfunctions, Logan went silent about CryptoZoo, and he stayed silent for a long time. Logan's team kept telling the investors that he was going to start marketing CryptoZoo any day now, but that day never came. And then about a month after Hatch Day, Logan Paul moved on to marketing his next NFT project, 99 Originals. To the investors, this was a clear sign that the CryptoZoo adventure, whatever it was, had ended. Naturally, people started asking why Logan had seemingly abandoned CryptoZoo. And Logan responded by blaming his silence on shit going on behind the scenes. That's what we start uncovering in episode 2 of CoffeeZilla's series, The Biggest Fraud in Logan Paul's Scam. In episode 2, CoffeeZilla tells us about this sketchy-ass history of Eddie Ibanez, the alleged fraudster and fake successful business dude who partnered with Logan Paul only to then tank CryptoZoo's development entirely. While Logan Paul may have been the idea guy behind CryptoZoo, Eddie was the guy who was going to actually make it happen. He was responsible for the development side of CryptoZoo, but it seems he never did his job. He never drew up any contracts with CryptoZoo's developers, and he never paid them for their work, which led those developers to the desperate move of withholding the code they had developed for CryptoZoo until they got paid. And of course, this made Logan accuse them of stealing the code. It's such an unreasonable, petty, immature mess. And I thought the beauty community was dramatic. In this episode, CoffeeZilla also reveals that Logan Paul's manager, Jeff, was warned about Eddie's potential fraudulence by a journalist who was doing a story about him, focusing on his potential fraudulence. And I don't know if that warning ever got past Jeff to Logan, but ultimately, he or his team decided to ignore it, and they went with Eddie anyways. Episode 2 also introduces us to another important character named, you guessed it, Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru. He's back and better than ever at grifting and clout chasing off of Logan Paul. In this episode, he just pops up to blame everything that went wrong on Eddie while ignoring the ongoing internal problems within CryptoZoo that were still rearing their ugly heads.
Eddie was kicked off the team months ago, and still, the game is not working, despite Logan claiming they were going to go back and fix all the problems. What's worse is the newest dev team, who came on after Eddie, just quit. And one of the reasons was they hadn't been paid for over a month. I know this because Logan's team is leakier than the Titanic, and someone told me that, but we also have blockchain evidence. It does look like they were eventually paid, but only a day after they quit. And this is just the same problem as before, slightly different. Nobody can pay these devs on time, and investors end up getting nothing.
This was the straw that broke the camel's back. Once the second unpaid dev team announced their departure publicly on September 26, 2022, almost 11 months after Hatch Day, investors started jumping ship in droves. This fun game that makes you money was supposed to be playable a long time ago, but instead, these investors were seeing all that had been played over the past 11 months was them.
Things didn't work out. We all get that. But to continuously lie, lead people on, hype people up, to put more money in, all the while in the background, things are going down, things are hitting the fan, and you left us holding the bag.
I know it was my decision, and I did my research, but I believe nobody has to lose money in this way.
At the same time that the second development team quit and the investors started walking away, a whistleblower from within Logan's team stepped forward and leaked CoffeeZilla messages from a group text showing every player's thought process throughout the entire development timeline. I don't know for sure who this whistleblower is. I only have a theory. But listen, this person is doing the Lord's work over here, so I'm not trying to out them. Thank you, whistleblower. That's all I have to say about that. Now let's take a look at those leaked texts, shall we? And if you're hearing some nature sounds, I have opened a window because it's hot in here because I'm angry, so I'm warm. Anyway, moving on because that's not changing. Episode 3, titled Ending Logan Paul's Biggest Scam, is all about these leaked texts and Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru, my favorite shiny scalp little grifter. And please excuse me because I feel like in episode 3, I have kind of abandoned my mission of not getting too deep into the weeds here, but Jake just fascinates me. And I think that what fascinates me the most about him is the fact that people are just overlooking him and his involvement and not blaming more shit on him. So I'm just gonna point out what I feel like is some pretty clear bad actions on Jake's part, because I feel like it's important. Forgive me for my momentary deep dive. You all know who I am. Okay, at this point, okay, let's go. Jake was an advisor on the CryptoZoo team, probably due to his appearance of expertise. After all, he calls himself a crypto king. However, I just need to add a note here. As I thoroughly laid out in my last video, despite the title that he gave himself, Jake actually had little to no expertise or authority in the world of cryptocurrency. He had written some articles and started a cryptocurrency that failed, but that's it. There was nothing else that I could find in my research, nor that anyone else has presented to me since my last video was published. It's not like there's a million Jake stans out here defending him or trying to prove me wrong. And yet somehow Jake sneaked his way into being an advisor on this project. And boy oh boy, advise he did. According to the leaked texts, he had some considerable sway over the choices that were made about CryptoZoo. First of all, it looks like this entire project came from an idea that Jake had.
We have to start in March of 2021, 6 months before the token even launched. Our 4 suspects, Logan, Crypto King, Eddie, and Jeff, are in a group chat discussing CryptoZoo, which starts as a copy of something else. Quote, "I like imitating crypto kitties," Jake the Crypto King says.
Sorry, who said that? That's right, it's not Logan Paul, the idea guy. It's Jake the fucking Crypto King / collectibles guru. That's fucking who.
Logan replies, "I agree." And initially, it wasn't called CryptoZoo at all. It was called Crypto Pets.
So isn't this interesting? It looks like Logan isn't coming up with this all on his own. He's agreeing with Jake's idea, making a group chat to workshop Jake's suggestion. And oh, I bet that feels good, doesn't it, Jake? Aren't you proud because rich millionaire pokebro Logan Paul likes your idea? Don't you want to impress him so he can keep validating you and your big, smart king guru brain? And maybe he'll be the one to bring your dream to life, huh? And actually make a functioning cryptocurrency that works, huh? Because you could never make it happen on your own, huh? And I know I'm sounding just a touch mean here, but I hate the fact that somebody's dick measuring contest, that somebody is so unable to handle failure in their life that they go to such great lengths to extort people, which is what he ends up doing, and it pisses me off. Anyway, when they discuss marketing this project, we can see Jake flattering Logan, elevating himself based on some vague connections that no one but him can verify, and making some optimistic value predictions all in one fell text.
Crypto King said he thought it was worth at least $20 million in only 6 months, saying the range is insane, $20 to $210 million. It's beautiful wherever we land.
Now, not to say that Jake was the only person blowing smoke up Logan's ass, Eddie Ibanez was too. But we now know that Eddie is a complete fraudster, allegedly, and that he isn't trying to portray himself otherwise. For example, Eddie Ibanez did not respond to CoffeeZilla's request to comment on his video series. To me, that seems like he knows that he's sketchy, and he's not really trying to fight it. However, Jake doesn't seem to see the error of his ways. And we'll see later on, he keeps blaming others for the failure of this project, even though it was built at least partly on his game idea and his fake crypto expertise and initial projections. While Jake is not the only person to blame here, he is much more involved in this shit than he wants to let on. And if my theory is correct, and if what Logan Paul said to the New York Times is about Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru, then he proactively cozied up to Logan Paul using his sheer charisma and used car salesmanship, I guess, to put himself in this advisory position so he could have a nice line item on his resume or feel good about himself or whatever. So at the end of the day,
if Jake doesn't like that this all apparently went wrong on his watch,
it's Jake's own fault for putting himself in the position of the crypto guy on the team, putting himself in charge of it. You can't. And this brings us to June 11th, 2021, also known as Zoo Day. Buckle up, kiddos. This is how the Zoo Day fiasco all started.
The team wanted to pre-sell tokens, and not everyone was sure it would be legal. Jake the Crypto King mentions that, quote, if we have a pre-sale, it opens us up to SEC issues. And Jeff agrees and says, don't want to do anything that brings the SEC eyeballs. Now, not everyone wanted to be so cautious, though. Logan argues everyone does pre-sale with coins.
Remember before when we talked about the SEC with that New York Times article? Yeah, they're back because there's shit going on here that the SEC potentially would have liked to have been made aware of. Those SEC eyeballs may not have been too happy with some of what was happening here. But in addition to that, isn't this interesting to see? For a moment there, Jake actually tries to rely on his real expertise, his legal background. Remember, in the last episode, I showed you that Jake went to college and earned his JD, Juris Doctorate. He worked as a legal aid for a while, and he was essentially one bar exam away from being a practicing lawyer. He knows legal shit, and here he tries to bring up a very real obstacle to the team. But as soon as Logan responds with, but I really want to do a pre-sale, then all bets are off. Jake doesn't try to convince Logan or educate him on the SEC or the legal liabilities that might be involved here. Nope. Instead, in his apparent lust for Logan's approval, he seemingly abandons his real skill set for a fake one. Or at least he uses his legal education for the wrong reasons, to find a loophole.
So Crypto King comes up with a middle solution. He says, if we can't sell, no pre-sale. We can still trade them in the liquidity pool. And this is the start of a new disaster.
Jake's liquidity pool loophole would become known as Zoo Day among the team. They decided together that on Zoo Day, June 11th, 2021, a series of events would take place. First, they would self-launch the CryptoZoo currency known as ZooCoin, without announcing it to anyone, including investors. Next, Logan, his manager Jeff, his assistant Danny, Eddie Ibanez, and Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru each started buying Zoo, aka ZooCoin, spending tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get shares while the price was super low, like just over a penny per share. Then, after their purchases caused the price of Zoo to rise, they slowly let other people know that it had launched and it was available to buy, starting with their family, then friends, then their connections, until finally they held an official, publicized, advertised, not a secret launch day. On that day, the public could finally invest at a much higher cost. To be clear, this was Jake's idea, and if you can't tell, I'm pissed about it because, first of all, I have a great respect for ethical lawyers and ethical practice of the legal profession. And this is legally sketchy at best, and it fucks over public customers and specifically Logan Paul's fan base for the benefit of a very few already wealthy founders and team members. But I'm not going to pretend that Jake is the only one responsible here. The whole team agreed to his plan, so they're all at fault for whatever results came from it. And that includes Logan Paul, who, ironically enough, didn't really like the results of Jake's Zoo Day plan. At this point in the video, COFFEEZILLA starts talking about crypto in a much more in-depth manner, which makes sense because he is a crypto scam investigator man by trade. So he's very knowledgeable about it. You can watch COFFEEZILLA's video for all the details if you are in the crypto world and you speak that language. But as for me here in my video, I'm going to do my best to give a summary in layman's terms. Basically, because of the leaked texts that COFFEEZILLA got and the publicly available blockchain data, we can see that when Logan and team executed the Zoo Day plan, it seems that Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru used a lot of crypto wallets to buy a lot more tokens at this initial super low price than he was supposed to. It seems like there was a kind of Scouts honor agreement going on among Logan's team. They had made a plan of who was going to buy how much at what time.
Because after buying inevitably comes selling, and they wanted that to happen in a specific, controlled way.
But if you didn't want to stick to the plan, there was no mechanism in place preventing you from doing whatever the fuck you wanted to. Once ZooCoin had launched, even though it wasn't being advertised and no one really knew about it, it was openly available to be bought. It would be like the owner of a store stocking a new candy bar and hoping that only their friends bought it. You could put it on the store shelves way in the back, over in the corner, underneath some stuff, and then tell your friends exactly where it is so that only they could come into the store and find that candy bar, bring it up to the cash register and go. But technically, anybody could find that candy bar, bring it to the cash register and buy it. Also, if they wanted to, one of your friends could come in and grab all of the candy bars and buy them for themselves and not leave any behind for any of your other friends to get. And essentially, that's a more similar analogy to what Jake did here. While Logan's team of 5 founders, including Jake, sat there in a circle with their 5 pre-approved wallets, taking turns buying ZooCoin, it turns out that 30 wallets were actually used to buy ZooCoin on that secret day when no one was supposed to know that it was even available for sale yet. Now, some of those traders could have been bots or could have been other random traders who are just new coin enthusiasts. But based on the available blockchain evidence, most of those extra wallets can be linked to Jake, the crypto king / collectibles guru. While Jake later admits that this move of buying way more of that super low price coin than he was supposed to, or taking all the candy bars so that nobody else could buy them, was morally questionable, he does stand behind the fact that legally he did nothing wrong. There's that legal expertise coming to the table, how we love to see it. And what's very interesting about this, the part of this that Logan Paul really did not like, Jakey Boy secretly bought more ZooCoin than he was supposed to, and the results of that were that this caused the value of ZooCoin to inflate up to like $120 million. Then the day after Zoo Day, he sold a bunch of that extra ZooCoin from those extra wallets and turned himself a nice profit, allegedly. So like, am I crazy? Or did Jake basically execute his own mini pump and dump scheme among the larger stealth launch scheme that he also came up with? Like, am I misreading this? Let me know in the comments below, because I very well could be, but like, holy shit. Whatever went on here, he acted really sus about it in the founders group chat that was leaked to CoffeeZilla, and it did not help him look innocent at all. But at the same time, as much as this man annoys the hell out of me, I do have the slightest amount of respect for the ingenuity, scheming his own scheme to make himself a profit. Like, it's smart, but it's just the worst kind of smart. It's criminal smarts, or, you know, in Jake's words, it's morally wrong, but legally it's permissible. I hate when people do that shit. You and your fucking loopholes. The rest of us can't afford rent. It's just wild. This shit's wild. And this is why I wanted to do a deep dive on Jake and his behavior in episode 3 here. CoffeeZilla goes into it to an extent, but I feel like I'm bringing some additional commentary here. Anyways, in response to what happened on Zoo Day, when Logan Paul and the rest of the team put their heads together and figured out what Jake had done, or just literally looked at the blockchain, because literally all crypto transactions are publicly available to look at on the blockchain. The blockchain is literally a chain of receipts. So all Logan had to do was literally look at the receipts to see who had bought and sold what. Once they did that very basic thing and found out that Jake was behind this apparent one-day pump and dump scheme, they cut him out of the team. And like, I get it. I get why. That's the one thing that Jake apparently didn't think about, was like, oh yeah, this thing that I'm gonna do is very easy to find publicly. There's gonna be evidence. I'm not going to be able to get away with it. Now, Logan says that he cut Jake out because Jake was only in it for the money.
Like, dude, I was at the airport when I watched the part where he said Jake had stolen $6 million. I don't know if that's true or not. I knew he was a bad actor, hence why we kicked him off the fucking team immediately when we found out he was only in it for the money.
Prerogatives, yeah.
To which I argue, Logan, if you weren't also only in it for the money, why were you so fucking mad when CryptoZoo's value fell from $120 million to $40 million? Because $40 million is a lot of fucking money, bro. So if you weren't also in it for the money, wouldn't $40 million have been satisfactory? It's not enough for you, Logs? Logan and Co. also decided to blacklist Jake from the official launch of CryptoZoo after they also cut him out of the team. In response to being blacklisted, even though Jake is the one who did a sketchy move behind everybody's back and made $6 million off of an internal pump and dump, allegedly, which is wild to me, he still felt emboldened to call Logan a scammer. And he got mad and left the group text and the project in a self-righteous huff. And yet what's really interesting to me is that when Jake interviews with COFFEEZILLA in episode 2, he very passionately says that he doesn't want anyone to think that Logan is the reason why this project failed. He was blaming everything on Eddie at that time. So I guess he's not all that bitter about this anymore? Or maybe he wants to get back into Logsy's good graces? Keep kissing ass, Crypto Man. Logan loves it. No longer a member of the team, Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru actually talked to COFFEEZILLA and explained himself this way.
I was a 5% holder of the Zoo tokens that I was promised to be given over the 3-month period, was never given. I can also show you that I was frozen out and was never given the 15 billion tokens back that I paid for in cash. I was a founder that was supposed to be given 5% of the project and was never given the token or paid. Worked for almost a year on the project. As long as that goes in with it, then at least that tells my side of the story so people understand that it's not like I was trying to rug a project. It sounds like your biggest issue with me is that I sold. And if that's your biggest issue with me, that's the truth. I did sell. I didn't sell $6 million worth. That's going to be other wallets, but that's probably not going to be able to be me being able to be proven. You can say the timing was bad and it was inappropriate to sell, but the reality is I bought tokens open market and sold them open market. So there was nothing illegal about that. Ethically, arguable. The rest that Logan did to me was ethically wrong and illegal.
He literally had put $200,000 into this, and he says he made millions of dollars. Even if you take him at his word that he didn't make the full 6 million, he tells me via text, quote, "I don't care if you tell people I sold a few million and leave it at that." Well, okay, $6 million, a few million dollars, it's millions of dollars, right?
Now, I hate to just like keep harping on this guy, but I just need to do a quick sidebar to respond to our pal Jake here for just a second. If we go back to my last episode on this whole thing and the Pokemon card unboxing scandal with dumb money, Jarvis Johnson made his commentary video. Jake the Crypto King responded to Jarvis about it. Jarvis made a response to Jake's response. And in that second video from Jarvis Johnson, do you remember this whole thing that went down? I talked about it in my first episode. I need you all to keep this moment in mind for later.
It would be nice if an educated, well-known member of the public took the time to research and contact the actual individuals versus negative frame and speculate.
Yeah, we'll be back for that one too. You'll see. This is now. This is when we're back for it. So let me get this straight, Jake. Please. So you criticize Jarvis Johnson for sitting there and speculating, and you want him to do his research. But when someone does what you ask, and an educated, well-known member of the public actually does reach out to you, takes the time to research and contact the actual individuals versus negative frame and speculate, you won't go on the record except to provide like 30 seconds of self-victimizing bullshit about how you fucked around and found out the blockchain ratted your ass out and you only made a few $1 million off of your $200,000 investment instead of like $10 or $15 million, and that's really sad for you? Oh my God, what a little bit.
Just wanted to let you know I caught backlash when I was the one who was fucked over for a year's salary over 30 seconds. I can't help but feel like he keeps wanting to be framed as the victim here.
And I can only remark on how similar your behavior is in this scenario about CryptoZoo, Jakey boy. See, you don't get to complain, and Jeff doesn't get to complain when you participate in fucking people over. You take so long to make it right that people start investigating it. You have opportunities to explain yourself, but you choose to offer no comment, Jeff. You threaten a baseless lawsuit, Jeff. Or you do respond, but only in a way that makes you look bad. You don't get to complain. I'm sorry. You have your millions. Now be happy and walk away, asshole. Now, I swear to God, I'm done with the long Jake the Crypto King deep dive here. So back to some broader points that CoffeeZilla is making in this third episode of his series. CoffeeZilla points out that Logan and Jeff did not sell their Zoo coin while Eddie and Jake did. And this is a big sticking point for Logan's defenders, which truly I don't understand. Just because you didn't sell doesn't mean that other people didn't get fucked over. Those are two separate factoids that are not related to one another. If you caused yourself and others to get fucked over, you still caused people to be fucked over. You don't get excused just because you also caused yourself to be fucked over. It's all still your fault. They can still be mad at you, and you can still be asked to apologize. Just because you also suffered from your own stupid actions does not clear your responsibility for how others suffered from your stupid actions. We get that, right? Please. CoffeeZilla wraps up the episode by saying that at the end of the day, the game Logan promised was never delivered to his customers. Logan bears responsibility as the captain of this ship, and especially as the guy who used his social media influence to market this thing that didn't exist, specifically to his fan base, getting his fans to buy into dreams and then not delivering anything to them. However, Eddie Ibanez also bears massive responsibility for apparently never paying the developers, and Jeff bears responsibility as well for hiring Eddie despite being warned about him. Especially because then after Eddie left, Jeff also did not pay the new developers. Or at least not until it was too late after they had quit in response to not being paid. And then, of course, as we go down the list of blame, there's Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru, the advisor who advised the Zoo Day secret launch plan that inflated the value of Zoo Coin and, ironically, got himself kicked off the team after he sold when he wasn't supposed to. It's a fucking mess, but ultimately it's beside the point, because as CoffeeZilla says,
it's hard to assign exact proportions of blame, because if you focus on any one person, you kind of miss why this project failed. CryptoZoo, at the end of the day, did not fail because the price went too low. CryptoZoo failed because they never built a functioning game that they promised. They never paid the developers on time, as boring as that is. And as a result, the investors not only got rugged for millions of dollars, which is a problem, but they just didn't get the core thing they had bought from the beginning.
Keep using a word there. Game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
That's it. That to me is the biggest scam in all of this. Yes, it's a huge problem. People stole millions of dollars, but it's a symptom of the larger issue, which is people didn't actually care about the game or this, whatever you want to call it. They just cared about the money.
CoffeeZilla ends this video and thus the entire series in a very respectful way with some statements from CryptoZoo's loyal investors, who honestly had some wisdom to offer. They weren't just shitting on Logan, they accepted their own responsibility for choosing to invest in this thing, whatever it was, thereby taking on some kind of risk. But they also pointed out where Logan didn't hold up his end of the bargain.
For somebody to win, somebody has to lose. That's a gamble you take whether you get into crypto or not. I got in knowing that I could lose, which is fine. That's on me. But I thought if I lost something, it would be because I sold at the wrong time, or the game didn't earn as much as I thought it would, and therefore my things weren't as valuable.
Each one of them scammed the project in their own way, and then off to the sunset they went.
It was his job to check the team to make sure that everyone is working together, to make sure that he is giving the funds of the people that put it into his project under his name to people that he actually trusts. So in my opinion, if the team failed to perform, that's Logan Paul to blame.
My kid and also my wife were invested. It was like telling a kid that Santa doesn't exist or something like that, because she really believed in all that game. She really believed in Logan Paul.
To market products at children and knowing full well that his team is made up of people that he believes are shady characters. Yeah, he still goes on Forbes interviews and says the game is great for kids. It's gonna be amazing.
Who loves it most? The kids. Their kids love it. Our developers' kids, all of them, cannot stop playing the game.
I think that is inhumane the way that side of it's been marketed.
He's not said a word. That's as bad, or almost as bad, as taking the money. It's the not coming out and just being a man about it.
At least we deserve to know what was happening behind the scenes while we were waiting for almost a year and a half.
Logan could have put out the red flags, told people to stop investing more into it, because people were investing into this project until the very last minute, where the ship was still just sinking down the ocean, and people were still putting their cash into it.
Some of the investors also offered Logan suggestions on how to make this weird, complex situation right.
Reimburse those loyal fans that they have, or how to rebuild the project, actually deliver on the project. For those who are still holding their eggs, like I am, or for those holding the Zoo coins. So maybe they could just deliver what they promised, and that would give some redemption to this fiasco.
Knowing what's happened since, knowing that all of the people that were there from the beginning, like all of the guys that I speak to on a daily basis, that we've all just got nothing now. Ideally, I just want to say I'll see you in court.
And speaking of making things right, that leads me to the aftermath of CoffeeZilla's series. The aftermath of CoffeeZilla's series on CryptoZoo was a little long and drawn out, and a little more emotional, I think, than I expected it to be. The first we heard from Logan was a pretty concise, edited video on his channel, which is no longer available, and that's because it was full of inaccuracies, which made it clear that he didn't get the point of CoffeeZilla's series at all. What was also clear was that he was very caught up in his feelings about this and reacting to it in a very emotional, angry manner that lacked thought. It was reactive. It was, dare I say, impulsive. Within a day or two of that first video coming out, Logan also published an episode of his Impulsive podcast in which he refuses to take responsibility as captain of the ship.
Where Coffee fucked up is by targeting me as some malicious, evil supervillain. If he had told this story objectively and told the story without vilifying me, in my opinion, that's where it got twisted.
Logan seems not to care nearly as much about actually making things right as he cares about clearing his name. Which he can't, because at the end of the day, this was his thing, which he was silent about for a long time, and that silence sparked CoffeeZilla to make this series. So yeah, that's on him. The podcast episode also made it clear that Logan truly did not get the point of CoffeeZilla's series. Truly, the point was not Logan is a big bad dude and everyone should blame him for this project failing, and only him, and he's the only one that everyone should be mad at, and Logan is a big bad villain. That was kind of part of it. Like, in theory, Logan's name is on the project, his fan base was the ones who bought in, and they were also the ones who got fucked over, so yeah, the buck stops with him. But clearly, everyone knows that CoffeeZilla also did basically a whole episode on Eddie Ibanez, and most of an episode almost entirely focused on Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru. So there was a whole group of villains that CoffeeZilla was exposing here, who consumers should be wary of putting their money into in the future. So raising that awareness is important. It's not just raising awareness about Logan Paul, but about any projects that involve Jake the Crypto King / collectibles guru, Eddie Ibanez, and anybody related to this project, honestly. And at the end of the day, CoffeeZilla's ultimate goal with this series was not about villainizing Logan, it was about getting justice for the investors. And sometimes the only way to get that justice is through the unfortunate, messy vehicle of public callouts. Some people need to be publicly exposed and feel that heat from an angry audience in order to finally move their asses and rectify the situation. If anything, I would say the big takeaway here is that Logan seems to be that kind of guy. To be honest, it seems like this method works, because after CoffeeZilla's series was published and Logan had his brief public bitch fit, he and CoffeeZilla had a nice little phone call talking about everything. Logan then published about a 2-minute long video on his second channel, which is always a very interesting choice, thanking COFFEEZILLA for opening his eyes with his series and making several promises in response to the call that he had with COFFEEZILLA.
For one, Logan apologizes to me.
I called him, I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire and ego.
Not only that, Logan also pledges a $1.3 million refund plan for people who bought his NFTs.
I am personally committing 1,000 ETH to this, which is about $1.3 million.
In addition to that, he also promises to finish CryptoZoo, which was left abandoned.
And then step 3, obviously finish and deliver the game as outlined in the white paper.
So great, there's a 3-point plan. Apologize to COFFEEZILLA, but not the investors. Reimburse the investors and deliver the game that he promised. Not a bad outline, and this may sound great to Logan's gullible teenage fan base, but to the investors that were actually affected by the CryptoZoo mess, this rang hollow because Logan's follow-up actions did not even meet this simple 3-point outline that he laid out for himself. And that's what I started talking about at the beginning of this video because it pisses me off. Logan has not fully followed through on a single one of these 3 points. First of all, he wanted to apologize to COFFEEZILLA and remove both of his videos where he talks about COFFEEZILLA, meaning the one on his main channel and the one on his podcast channel. However, as of filming, he has only removed one of those videos. The second video, the impulsive podcast episode where he talks about COFFEEZILLA, is still up on his channel. And since COFFEEZILLA is the only person that Logan has even really apologized to in this situation, it says a lot that he can't even follow through on the one thing. He set these standards for himself. He put these bars in place for himself to reach, and he can't even reach them. To be honest with you, what Logan says in that episode, in that impulsive podcast episode about COFFEEZILLA, is not good. Like, if COFFEEZILLA wanted, he could sue Logan Paul for defamation based on what is said in that episode, in my opinion. It sounds like there's a lot more grounds for defamation suit based on what Logan said in his video than based on anything that COFFEEZILLA said about Logan. So I'm just saying, if I was Logan and I had promised to take down that video, and I was trying to avoid additional lawsuits because there is a CryptoZoo lawsuit. We'll get to that. I would take down that podcast episode. I just, just to be safe. Secondly, the promise that Logan made to reimburse the CryptoZoo investors came with several catches.
$1.3 million is a lot of money. Unfortunately, the scam was much bigger than $1.3 million. So the fact is, most victims are not going to be made whole by this plan. Just in Zoo coins alone, blockchain evidence shows $7.7 million was stolen by Logan's team, depending on who you believe. And this refund does nothing for those victims. It doesn't even apply to the holder of Zoo coins at all. You get nothing if you bought this in-game currency. This refund only applies to current egg holders. So they can cash out that NFT for the initial mint price in crypto, which matters sort of because crypto has crashed a lot. So even though people spent $2.5 million on these eggs, in order to refund all these holders at mint price, it now only costs $1.3 million in today's money.
Just a reminder, back at the beginning when we were talking about these Pokemon NFTs, Logan Paul can make millions of dollars appear out of thin air if he wants to. I don't know why it's hard for him to refund under $10 million to people. This is life-changing amounts of money to these investors. To him, it's less than a month of work. Come on, man. Stop acting like you ain't rich. So this is what I mean by Logan not following through on this promise. He's giving back some money to some people, but there are a lot of people who certainly are not going to be made whole. So there's an appearance of trying to do the right thing by reimbursing people, but he's not actually reimbursing them. What's most disturbing to me is Logan Paul's mentality about this whole thing, which really comes out in the way that he talks to his investors and his fan base in his Discord, especially his CryptoZoo related Discord. COFFEEZILLA's response video, where he responds to Logan Paul's responses to his series, also shows some Discord messages where Logan is, in my opinion, lying to his investors. For example, in this image, Logan Paul claims that CryptoZoo and the related currency, Zoo Coin, was not intended to be an investment vehicle, and believes that there has been a misconception about what this was supposed to be. So either Logan lied on his impulsive podcast when he said that this was a game that could make you money.
It's a really fun game that makes you money.
Or he's lying in this Discord server when he says that CryptoZoo was not intended to be an investment vehicle. It's one or the other, Logs. Both cannot be true. I just hate it when creators talk to their fans like they're goddamn idiots who don't remember what they said publicly, especially because all these people have seen CoffeeZilla's video, and CoffeeZilla's series highlights this clip of Logan saying on video that CryptoZoo is a fun game that makes you money. He doesn't say it's a fun game and leave it there. He says it's a fun game that makes you money. Come on, dude. Like, I know that people overuse the word gaslighting, and I don't want to disrespect the word by like overusing it and cheapening it and whatever, but like with the high stakes of this situation and the power imbalance that's going on here, it certainly seems to me like gaslighting is an applicable term here. On top of that, it turns out there's another catch in this whole situation. This catch was revealed when one investor asked, what will happen to people who sold everything at a loss when the project appeared to be abandoned? Will everyone who minted be able to get that refund or just the current owners? And this is a very reasonable question, especially because Logan's silence, which was not legally required, by the way, he made a point about that. There was a lot he could have said without putting himself in legal jeopardy. Logan's silence was the reason that CryptoZoo looked abandoned. That is Logan's fault. But in response to reasonable questions like this, Logan had no reasonable answers. He just told people to stop investing in CryptoZoo and eventually elaborated on that by saying, I will no longer be the scapegoat for anyone's financial decisions. So are you just admitting that you're someone that should not be trusted? Are you just admitting that you're trying to lie? Like, what a thing to say, man. This bitter attitude of self-victimization is exactly why Logan's apologies and half-assed attempts to pretend to make everything right and just hope that nobody will notice that like it's not really working, it completely falls flat. He pretends to do a lot while actually doing the least, and his young audience eats it up while anyone who knows anything about crypto can see right through it. All this manipulation and shadiness is evidence of the fact that, yeah, he was in this for the money. He couldn't bring himself to apologize to the investors. He only apologized to CoffeeZilla, and barely. And he didn't remove the 2 videos that he said he would, only one of them. He can't bring himself to reimburse people who trusted him, who he hurt and affected with life-changing amounts of money, because he was also hurt. So he thinks that's an excuse to not help people even though he's fucking rich. And he didn't release CryptoZoo yet. He said that was going to be his solution, was putting out the game that everybody bought into. If they just gave him more time, he'd be able to do it. It's been 3 more months, Logs. Where is it? Where is CryptoZoo? It's like asking, where is Shelly Miscavige? Where is it? Show us. And since this is clearly all about the money, I'll return to what I said before. Yeah, Logan, you fucked yourself over with this project. Boo-hoo for you. You're still on the hook for fucking all these other people over. In CoffeeZilla's words, since you listened to him,
it's just so frustrating when the good that Logan seems to be doing, he's doing the bare minimum of at the last possible second with motivations that seem to be, in the proper context, to say it lightly, irreparably tainted by self-interest.
Self-interest and only self-interest. This brings me to my final thoughts on Logan Paul, the businessman, the crypto man, whatever type of man he pretends to be. To be honest with you, I'm cutting this video shorter than I intended to. There is more to the story here, but does Logan Paul deserve me telling that story? At this point, I really don't think so. I'm not going to go in depth on how 99 Originals was an NFT project that seemed to go over fine. Turns out he finally was able to get his act together when he stopped taking advice from Jake the fake guru and not Crypto King, collectibles, whatever the fuck. Good for you, Logan. Well done. Brilliant. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to deep dive into how Logan returned to non-crypto business ventures with this sports drink collaboration called Prime, which, yeah, it's doing great, but the ingredients suck and do not do what a sports drink is supposed to do to help athletes recover and rehydrate, allegedly. I'll link a video discussing that in my description of this video. It's just another example of the laziness and, honestly, the kind of shady marketing tactics that Logan is using. Even about a drink, he can't help himself. Logan Paul doesn't deserve any more of my energy. After this whole CryptoZoo project, I am more disgusted by Logan Paul than anything else. I could go on. You all know that I can talk, but he does not deserve any more of my time, attention, or stress over making this goddamn video series. I am done. And I am bringing you back to the original question that I asked in today's video. When are we going to say enough is enough? Thank God someone is telling him enough is enough. Someone is actually taking him to court over CryptoZoo, which is great. I hope that they can accomplish everything that they need to in order to be made whole. Logan Paul needs to be held accountable here in some way, as do all of these influencers who abuse and extort and take advantage of their own audiences who gave them their riches and power in the first place. If a lawsuit is what gets that message through Logan Paul's thick, mediocre-looking skull, then fine. But for other creators whose bad acts can't be addressed in a court of law, the hammer of justice falls to us, the audience, because it's not like these social media companies can be relied on to enforce their terms of service and kick advantage-taking influencers off of platforms. We become the ones with the burden to act, either by a hard cancellation, like petitioning companies to remove these people's accounts, or a soft cancellation where we unsubscribe, we stop watching, we stop interacting, and we let the silence or the lack of ad revenue speak for itself. We don't do hate. We don't do hate speech, right? We keep ourselves clean in these battles. But I just think that we need to acknowledge that in these situations, we are not helpless to make a difference, and we can help bring justice. We, the audience, the viewers, are so valuable to these influencers that they're willing to beg, borrow, and steal to get our time and money. We give out the clout that they're chasing. We bring the feast or the famine. We hold their bag. We dole out their millions and millions of dollars. So let this be a reminder to us to check in. Who are we watching? Where do we spend our money, our attention, our admiration? Are those people worth it? And when do we stop? Do we unsubscribe from messy creators, or do we sit there and watch, indulging in a guilty pleasure, but also giving them the fame that enables their bad behavior? What does it take to change our minds? How much extortion? How much manipulation? How much abuse until we unsubscribe from toxic creators? When is enough enough? To be clear, I am not saying that viewers are responsible for influencers' bad actions, because we're simply not. None of us told him to start this stupid game to take money from a bunch of his fans who invested early and then pull the rug out from under them, because, again, this game still is not finished and published, and it's been another 3 months. His fans trusted him because parasocial relationships are a real thing. The way he misused that parasocial trust is on him and no one else. But while I'm not saying that it's our fault that Logan has done so much shit over time and has gotten away with it, I am saying that we are able to do something about it, to hold him accountable. We have that power. Enough is enough. Truly, Logan Paul crossed the line long ago, and this is just another cherry on top of a shit sundae. I just hope that when you think of Logan Paul, you think of CryptoZoo. And I hope that this makes all of us think twice, not only about who we subscribe to and watch and elevate, but also about what the wrong person can do with the millions of dollars they earn simply from our attention. For me, Logan Paul is over. Enough is enough.
If I was on a call with Logan Paul, I would ask him, where did his redemption arc go? I think he was on such a good streak going about his YouTube career and boxing as well. And it's sad to see that because of money, once again, we have degraded down to stealing from his viewers.
That's the end of today's video, part 2 of my series on Logan Paul. I do hope that you go watch the first one if you haven't yet. Just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, I hope that you give it a like. I hope you subscribe to my channel. I hope that you set your notifications to all. I hope that you check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because YouTube has been doing this fun thing again where every time I upload, it just unsubscribes people. And I don't know why, but I don't think that I'm organically losing subscribers in the way that is being reflected in my analytics. So just check. I've seen people saying also that they are not getting notified even though they have their notifications on. So just check your notifications bell as well and make sure that it's set to all. I do want to bring up that I have a Patreon that supports my work. These videos take a long time and take a lot of work. Like with this one, there was a lot of technical issues, so it took a lot of filming and refilming and re-editing and redoing because of audio shit, and it was a mess until I ultimately refilmed the entire thing. Now, at the end of March, having a Patreon, you'll be a little more updated on what I have going on. You'll be able to be part of my Discord server. And really what's important is that you'll be part of financially supporting me, because it does suck when I go through a lot of work and effort and I put out one of these videos and then it gets demonetized because of subject matter, because of copyright, because of all this stuff. I don't usually talk a lot about the Patreon, but I do want to mention it this time because I haven't for a while. And that's it for today. Comment below topics you want me to talk about. If it's a shorter story that's like pretty current, then I might include it in a morning stream. If it's a story that I feel like needs some more detail, I'll make a video about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you leave the toxicity here at the end of this video and don't take it with you. Just because Logan Paul is an ass doesn't mean that you have to take that toxic energy with you. Leave it here. Take a deep cleansing breath before you go. And have a wonderful day. Peace be with you always. Bye.
Go Logan, go away. Go Logan, go away. Go Logan, go away.